everyone, welcome back. Today's video is going to be carb cycling simplified. The reason why I decided to do two separate videos for carb cycling is because carb cycling is something that is a little bit difficult to understand for some people, and a lot of you guys had many questions about it, and that's why I decided to do a very long video where I explained it like every single point, every single step, super in detail, because if not, then I have to explain it in the questions that you guys ask me in the comments. For all of you that already have an idea what carb cycling is and you're just wondering exactly how to do it in a more simple, basic way, this is going to be great for you. If you haven't watched my carb cycling video and you have no idea what carb cycling is and you're interested in knowing, then definitely go ahead and watch that video. I will link it in the description box below. So without any further ado, let's get into this video and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Carb cycling is pretty much a way of tricking your body into a surprise state where it doesn't know exactly what you're going to consume, how much of it you're going to consume, so it helps you burn all of that extra fat really quickly while still being able to build muscle. So it's a great way to pretty much lean out and lose all of that extra fat that we have going on. When I talk about cycling your carbs, I'm specifically talking about complex carbs because those are the ones that I like to cycle just to keep it pretty simple. There are some people that go like really extreme when they have high carb days. They'll consume like a lot of carbs, but mine, when I say high carb days, it's still essentially a low carb diet. And just to give you a good example, the diet that Kim Kardashian has been doing recently, which has literally made her so skinny, is the Atkins diet. And what the Atkins diet is really just a low carb diet. That's pretty much all it is, to put it in simple words. So when I carb cycle, I'm cycling my carbs, but essentially overall it's still a low carb diet. Like, I'm not consuming like crazy amounts of carbs. Even on high carb days, it's still pretty low. So I'm gonna start off with a regular day for me, like a basic day, what it would be for my intake. So for my protein, it would consist of 30 to 40% of my daily calories. So if I'm allowed to consume 1,600 calories a day, out of those 1,600 calories, 30 to 40% would be protein. For my carbs, it's also 30 to 40% carbs on a regular basic day. And then fats, it's 20 to 25% fat on that regular basic day. So now we start playing around with those numbers. I have it written down so that I don't get confused, so don't mind me if I'm looking down. So now to really get into it, my days consist of no carb days, so 0 carb days, 1 carb a day, or 2 to 3 carbs a day. I play around with the 2 to 3 sometimes, depending if I haven't consumed any carbs and I've been carb depleting for 3 days and I'm literally about to go crazy, I'll have 3 carbs. But if not, I just keep it at 2 for morning and lunch. So first we're going to start off with 0 carbs a day. Those are going to be pretty much the 3 cycles: 0, 1, and 2 to 3. But on a no carb day, I would keep my protein intake the same, and then I would obviously have low amounts of carbs on that day. No complex carbs, meaning no oatmeal, no sweet potato, no whole wheat pasta, Ezekiel bread, none of that. You can have fibrous carbs, which are spinach, asparagus, any kind of green pretty much. You can have simple carbs, which are gonna be like grapefruit, blueberries, tomato. You can have avocado. Those are my favorite simple carbs. It will have more healthy fats. So increase your fat intake, lower your complex carbs intake. So I would use no carb days to do my rest days, or for like light cardio days, just because you're not gonna have as much energy and you don't want to push yourself too much and maybe get really dizzy, or just use that as your like light workout days. And then the next cycle is going to be a 1 carb day. So that means that out of the 3 big meals that you have that day, or like the main meals, one of them is going to be with a complex carbs. I like to have mine in the morning or during the afternoon around lunchtime. That way I have like enough energy to push me through the day. I never have it at night. I like having it morning or lunch, most times in the morning. And like I said, your protein intake is gonna stay the same. You're gonna have some complex carbs, but not much. It's just 1 portion. So when I say 1 complex carb, I mean 1 slice of bread, or 1 serving of oatmeal, a half of a sweet potato, and that's just for my intake. That's what I consume. But if you are bigger and maybe you're trying to build more muscle, you can have 2 slices of bread, a whole sweet potato, you can have more brown rice. That's pretty much gonna depend on your calorie intake and what your goals are, but pretty much just one meal of that day is gonna have a complex carb. However much you want to have and you calculate for you, but just pick one meal out of the day that's gonna have that. So that's pretty much what I mean on a 1 carb day. And then as far as your other meals for the day, I would just say consume protein and then as many vegetables as you want. I love eating asparagus and spinach like throughout the whole day. Whenever I get hungry, I just make myself a spinach salad. I can add a little bit of peppers, cucumbers, whatever it is, but make sure that you're eating as many vegetables as you can. They have a lot of fiber, they'll fill you up, and that way you're not like snacking on things you shouldn't snack on. And when I am on my 1 carb days, I like to do upper body or just cardio workouts, whatever it is, when I'm not trying to build a lot of muscle because I won't have a lot of energy. So I definitely don't do any heavy lifting on 1 carb days. I most of the time do upper body and a little bit of cardio. And then the last cycle is my 2 to 3 carbs a day. So that means that 2 or 3 meals out of your day are gonna have a complex carb in it. So most of the time I do 2. When I'm trying to go a little bit more extreme, I do 3. But what that means is that your protein intake, once again, is gonna stay the same. You're gonna have a high amount of carb, meaning you're gonna have low amounts of fats on that day. So if you are consuming a complex carb for breakfast, for your complex carb, you can have some oatmeal, then you can have egg whites for your protein. For your simple carbs, you can have some grapefruit or some kind of simple carb that is not high in fats. And then for, which one are we missing? Fibrous carbs, you can have spinach, you can have asparagus, any kind of vegetable that you like. So that's pretty much what my breakfast would look like. And then at lunchtime, I get to consume another complex carb. So for that, I would usually have like an Ezekiel toast or some brown rice, whole wheat pasta, anything that is a complex carb. And then I would add obviously a portion of protein. I would add a simple carb, so that can be like tomatoes, or I like to sometimes add some avocado to my toast, and that way I'm having a little bit of fats in my whole day and I'm still consuming my simple carbs and all of that good stuff. And then most of the time by dinner, I choose if I want to have a 3rd complex carb depending on how hungry I am. If I'm not too hungry, I just won't have it, and if I am, then I have it, and I count that as like a really high carb day. So the next day will most likely be 0 carbs. I like to use the 2 to 3 carb days as my heavy lifting days. So I would like to do my heavy lifting today, maybe tomorrow. I'm still gonna have a lot more energy than I normally would when I'm carb depleting. So doing your heavy lifting workouts around your high carb days is super important. That way you get the most out of your workouts. So one thing that is super important to remember is always balance out your meals. So like I said, keep it simple and just keep your protein intake the same, and just play around with your fats and your carbs. So again, if you increase your carbs, you lower your fats. If you lower your carbs, you increase your fats. So that's pretty much all you need to know. And then as far as the cycles, I like to do most of the time 1-1-1-0-0-2-2. So that means that Monday through Wednesday I am consuming only 1 complex carb per day, so usually in the morning. And then Thursday and Friday I consume 0. So those are the days that I'm carb depleting. I'm not consuming any complex carbs. I'm only consuming simple and fibrous carbs and my protein. And then by Saturday and Sunday, since it's the weekend, I like to give myself a little bit more room and be able to consume my 2 to 3 portions of complex carbs that day. So that way those 2 days will fuel me for the next week, which is most likely gonna be 0 and 1s. So you can play around with it. It doesn't really matter. You can do 1-1-1-0-0, 1-1-0-1-1-0. Like, it really doesn't matter. It's still pretty low, and then just boost it up when you get to the weekend with 2 high carb days back to back. All right guys, so I hope that was a little bit easier for you guys to understand. I know the other one was super descriptive, but I wanted some of you guys to really know what carb cycling is. and answer all of your questions. So if you guys still have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. If you guys want me to touch on any other topics, you can leave them in the comments below and I will get the video up for you guys. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and also give this video a thumbs up if you think I should do a grocery shopping haul, so I can take you guys around when I go grocery shopping, show you guys exactly what I like to get. Don't forget to follow me on my Snapchat and Instagram. I post a whole lot about what I'm eating all the time and what I'm doing when I'm working out, whatever it is about my daily life. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.